Welcome to Pathways Through the Prairie. I am your host, State Librarian Mary Soucie. We interview North Dakota librarians and library staff, state government leaders, and interesting North Dakotans. Join us as we meander down the pathways through the prairie. I am joined today by Melissa Bakken, the director at Leach Public Library in Wahpeton. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Melissa, I think I've known you for almost the full 11 years that I've been here. I've had the opportunity to visit your library several times, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
So, me too.
Melissa, the State Library provides pathways to knowledge and opportunities. Share with us what your pathway into the library world looked like.
Well, my life as a child growing up, I was never without a library in the communities that we lived in. So I always said, I will never move to a community that doesn't have an in-town library. So growing up reading, like I really enjoyed it. Then I moved to Wahpeton to go to school for nursing. And that didn't quite work out well with me, for me. Some earlier paths I could have taken to get better into the nursing field, it probably would have done okay. But I met and married my husband, had children, did in-home daycare for about 7 years. And then the library here had an opening for a part-time worker. And I did not get the job initially. It was offered to somebody else. And however, that person did not work out for the library. So they called me back for another interview, and I started in 1992. So I've been here 33 years, and it's been fun. I've seen a lot of change in the last 33 years. I mean, from putting the cards in the back of the books and doing a manual count every night of how many items have been checked out and checked in, and yeah, it's been an interesting journey that way. But anyway, so I was part-time for about 4 years maybe, and I started full-time as the adult services end of things. And Bonnie, our director, was with the library for about almost 25 years. They hired a new director who was here for about 2 years. She moved on to Wisconsin. And then the city decided to offer me the position. Basically, I'm 2 jobs in one now, the adult services and the library director. And so I've been the director here since late 2016.
Oh, wow. Almost 10 years.
I know, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
Holy smokes. Yeah,
it was August of 2016. Okay. When I took over as director.
So if you think back to 1992, part-time library worker, Melissa, would you have ever expected to be talking with someone 33 years later, still working in the library?
No, and I still love coming to work every day. It doesn't matter. I've never really had a bad day at work.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. What's your favorite thing? What do you love? What makes you love coming to work every day?
I really just love the variety of people that come in. They don't have to have a library card. They come into the library. A lot of times I always say we're not only the library, we're also the Kinko's in town because we have computers, we have access to printers and other technology that there really isn't any access for for the public. So I like to say that we offer that. I love doing customer service. Sometimes I say I enable people because for me, customer service and making them understand how things work is also important. And so instead of I try to teach while they're doing. So yeah.
Sure. So that's the opposite of enabling someone, actually. Teaching them to do it on their own is, enabling is doing it for them.
Yeah.
And when you answered the first question, you said things are a lot different than they were when you started. I've been a professional librarian for 30 plus years as well. And I know when I started, we still had the card catalog where you put the cards in the card catalog, and then when we first automated, it was on what they call the dumb terminal, and to now I can check out books on my phone, right, in my pocket. What are some of the other differences that you note in the library?
Well, you've been to our library a number of times, and you know we're kind of space crunched in the sense of we don't really have a place to grow. But when I started here, everything was on the main level. And so the children's library was in the northwest corner, the adult library and the reading lounge area was on the east side. And so in 2005, we actually moved the children's library down to the lower level. We gave up our huge community room, which we used to fill with like 240 kids every summer. And now that has become our children's library. So our community room is actually a lot smaller than what it used to be. But we still see quite a few people. Let's see, what else has changed? Well, like I said, started with the cards in the pockets, the slow automation. We had one computer here at the library that we had to share with the public. And when we got the first Gates grant, and I'm sure you remember what that's about, we got 4 public computers, which opened us up to actually, being able to have our own computer, going through the number of circulation, the circulation systems that we did, Winnebago, we did Aleph, we're on Polaris. So I've seen a lot of changes, and every year, every time we do that, I want to say, oh, I don't know if I can handle another one. But they do just keep getting better all the time, really,
Right.
the people that create that technology really have, I think they've listened to a lot of the librarians and said, we need this to work for us, and they're making it work. So
Awesome. Have there been changes in the collection?
Our teen collection has gotten quite a bit larger than when we started it. The teen collection kind of took off, I would say, the 2010-12 area is when we really started growing our teen selection. And right now, I think we have, we didn't have graphic novels at the time. Now we have graphic novels. We have a little, it's not a huge nonfiction area. It's more relevant, I would say, in the teen section than what it used to be. I would say the teen section has grown tremendously.
Okay. How about library programs? Any changes in library programs?
Sometimes I think I get a little stagnant, but I always see what other librarians are doing, and I'm thinking, how can we make this work with just 2 full-time staff? And, our part-time staff is limited too. So we try. I know today is a super busy day for our youth services librarian. They have a week of the young child event down at the community center. So she'll be down there this afternoon or this evening. Today, she has I believe it's a STEM class. And this morning she had story time. So she's super busy. I do the book club for the adults. And we have a good showing, 6 to 8 people every month. I think that's not terrible. I would really love to see our community get more involved. Over the years, like I said, initially, we would see 240 kids for our summer reading program. That's dropped. I mean, there's just so much for these children to do these days.
Sure.
And if you're not getting that support from even the schools saying, hey, remember, there's a summer reading program that it's free and you guys can do this. I've seen it drop over the time.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember coming to work. One of my first projects was coloring clip art.
Oh.
And I went home and I said to my husband, I'm getting paid to color. This is weird. And now, today,
awesome.
of course, we can download things, and make it a little more professional looking. But I remember those days.
Yeah, those days were fun. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We just happened to be talking during National Library Week, and so happy National Library Workers Day to you and to your team.
And a year ago, you were here for our 100th birthday. A year ago today.
Yes.
Today, yep. So we're 101 this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 101 years of service to the community.
In the same building.
In the same building.
Yeah. And it actually started before that, but in this building, we've been here 101 years. Mhm.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
So this year's theme for National Library Week is drawn to the library. Why do you think people are still drawn to libraries today?
Oh, wow. I think I think they're drawn to the library programming, services we offer, um, the collection of books that we have, the varied programmings. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of people, um, it's, and because I service the adult side of things and Rachel handles the children's side, I think for the adults, I see it's it's just what they've always done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they still want to come in and they still want to hold the book, and they're getting into the electronics now, but um they still want that, and they still think of the quiet space the library offers, maybe the safe space that a library offers for some people.
Mm-hmm.
It just brings, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I always laugh because libraries are not the quiet spaces they used to be.
Oh,
There's
no.
libraries often try and carve out a quiet corner, or depending on how big your building is, a quiet space.
Hmm.
But it's definitely not. We're not
It's,
the bun wearing, eyebrow raising, shushing librarians that we used to be. We welcome the noise and the
yeah. There
the
are times, there are times
connections.
I still have to go up and say, you need to keep it down. You know, um, that sometimes happens. People get on their phones and they forget that they're in the library, but,
Sure.
um, yeah, I just think the library is just an important place for communities to gather, um, find
Hmm.
what they like to do, to read. I mean, it's an option. We have park and rec departments. We have ECFE classes, Head Start classes for kids. And we still think that, there's still some families out there that believe that the library is the best place to go to vary the options that their
Hmm.
children are given. So.
Sure. I was at a
Mhm.
library in North Dakota yesterday that just opened a satellite location in West Fargo
Oh,
Library. And
sure. Mhm.
as part of her remarks, the director commented the library's still the best deal in town for people.
Absolutely. It's the
And I
best free
agree
card
with
in your
that.
wallet.
Yep. Yep.
Nope.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
probably the only free card in everybody's wallet today. And it's,
Hmm.
we offer and I know we live on the river, on the border of North Dakota and Minnesota. So I bet I want to say it was probably the early 80s. They the two libraries got together and they offered a reciprocal agreement for residents of Wahpeton and residents of Breckenridge to, if you get a card here, bring it over. We'll let you check out on either
Oh,
side of the library. And we
okay.
still do that. There's no charge for that.
Nice.
Because we look at it as our community as one community, um, besides the river
Hmm.
separating us. So,
Sure. I like that. I like that.
yeah,
And libraries often, I mean, we are about collaboration and connecting, whether it's connecting people to resources or connecting
mhm,
people to another library. So
right.
that's really awesome and very forward thinking.
Hmm.
So Melissa, what are some of the challenges for your library today?
Well, our biggest challenge is the fact that we are still in the oldest building uh, in town, pretty much. We're 100 years old, and there's really no space for us to go forward out, amongst things. Um, Physically challenging, it's just keeping the old building safe and in good condition for people.
Sure.
Other challenges are, in my opinion, are the political aspects of things that libraries go through it. And it doesn't matter whether it's book bans, but it's funding. It's all that stuff. I would say other challenges are getting people in the doors. You know, um, Last year we had a pretty good rate of people coming in, and of course we're still recovering after COVID blockages
Hmm.
and stuff. This year I think we're still on par for that. It's just I would love to see more families and children come back.
Sure.
There's we're we're competing with phones, we're competing with devices. Um, we're utilizing them in our own library sense of the word, but there's still a lot of families that, oh, they could benefit so much more just by coming into the library and letting those
Mhm.
children pick out their own things, you know. So
Mhm.
that's a challenge for us, I see.
Sure. And what would you say is one of your great successes?
Oh, wow. Um, well, being still being available to our community after all these years. A lot like a lot of other libraries, we're still here. We let's see. I would say probably being able to move our children's library downstairs, gave the children their own space. That was a success. We still have a great friends group. That's a success.
Mm.
They're always helping us out. They're working on a digital project for us, working with our digitization of our newspapers,
Oh,
and
nice.
still supporting us. Yep. And it's always a success when, you know, somebody walks in the door and says, I was here when I was a kid, you know, and they still can remember the smell and the space that they used when they were here, and the librarians that said shh. I have
That's
one
awesome.
gentleman that said there was a desk, apparently there was a horseshoe shaped desk almost at the front door of the library, and the minute he said they walked in the door, if you weren't quiet, you got sent out.
The first library that I was a library director at, long time ago, the library was downtown, small community in Illinois, and the library was on the second floor up like a fire escape. So everyone that visited the library went up and down the fire escape, and you got to the top of the fire escape, and Miss Nellie decided if you could even come into the library or not. So I'm really glad that we've moved beyond the Miss Nellies of the world.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're letting anyone in. Melissa, what's your favorite part about being the library director?
Oh, I still love the interaction with our patrons. It doesn't matter what age. You know, when I started, we had the children's library upstairs along with the adult side, and I loved it when I could see the kids more. I still love it when I meet new people, you know, and get to visit about the library.
Mhm.
Because people will ask me, who are those people? And I'll say, well, those are the people that donated the funds to build the library, you know?
Mhm.
And I still just love the public interaction. Hmm.
That's wonderful.
Hmm.
And what's on your library wish list?
Oh, I hate to say it, but if we could move the library closer to the street. No, honestly, if to find a way, my wish list is to find a way to expand our space somehow. I don't know how easy the State Historical Society is to work with as far as maybe having an add-on. We have this whole half block that we can utilize, and there's a good size yard. I would love to see a bigger community room for people to access, for us to have bigger programs. I think we could do really well with a bigger space. Um, Other than that, wish lists, uh, more people, more access, you know, more people coming in. Sometimes I think it wouldn't hurt society to have a crash with the internet someday and make people come back to the door, come back in the doors and see what we have. That's a terrible thing to say because that's not going to happen. But when I started,
We'd
that's
be in
what
a
was
world of hurt if
happening.
it did.
Yes, we would definitely be in a world of hurt. But for my library, I would love to see the people come in and take out 40 books again, you know, like they
Sure.
used to. So, yeah. Mhm.
Versus now taking out 40 books remotely and you never see them come through the doors.
Yeah.
So
You
they're
know,
still using your services, but in a
yeah.
different way.
Yeah, we still get to count the circs, but in the same breath, yeah, it would be
Right.
nice to see what they're reading, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so what do you want people to know about the Leach Public Library? What's your elevator speech?
My elevator speech would be, do you know we have a library in Wahpeton? A lot of people
Okay.
look in the phone book and they look under Wapaton Public Library. We're not listed
Oh,
as that.
right.
If they were looked in the yellow pages, they would find us, of course, under the
Sure.
Leach Public Library. That was one of our survey questions when we did a survey this year. We asked, do you know that we have a library in town? And there's a lot of people that have lived here for years have never entered it. As far as the elevator speech, do you know we have the library in town? This is what we offer. And I kind of go through the list of services that we offer. You know, we have ebooks, we have access to other databases and other book forms, and it just, you know, I talk about what we offer to the community, and I think that's very important.
Sure. And why is your library called Leach Public Library?
So back in 1919, Mr. and Mrs. Orrin Leach, a wholesale grocer in town, had decided when they had passed on that they were going to donate a library to the city. Well, Mrs. Leach decided it should happen a lot sooner. So they donated the funds to buy the land from the city right across from their wholesale grocer business at the time and city hall at the time. So they purchased the land and they donated it back to the city and built the library. In 1924, we opened our doors today at the tune of $40,000 to build this big old building. And our building looks very similar to the Liberty Memorial. You know, it has a few less columns, but it is, it's a beautiful building. You can't get architecture like this much anymore. But anyway, so they donated the library. It took them about, once they got started building, I think it started about 1922. They were open in 1924 in April. So they donated, they had no children. And so which really kind of surprised me, but they valued children in their library. I read an article when Mr. and Mrs. Leach donated the funds that a whole group of people walked in front of their house and said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They could hardly contain themselves. They were so excited to be able to get a beautiful library in their city. So, yeah.
And it's been continuously operating ever since.
It has. The only time that while I've been here, the only time that we've ever closed our doors is either for a drastic snowstorm and of course the COVID event. But we made our library work over COVID. You know, we were here, we were going through our books, we were cleaning. We did curbside service. In fact, when the mayor had said we needed to close, I said, can you give me 2 days? And he said, fine. I said, I need to let our patrons know because that's a form of entertainment. You take a book out or you can download books. People needed time to make sure their cards were working and everything else. So yeah, it worked out. We made it work. That's my motto here. We make it work.
That's a great motto. Well, I always like to end a podcast interview. I never ask a librarian for their favorite book because they just can't.
Oh,
but
no,
what's a book that you've read that you've enjoyed and you enjoy sharing with other people?
Oh, Kristen Hanna's The Women. It's a newer book, of course. My other favorite author was also Sandra Brown. I'm kind of a romance reader, you know, in its own right, but I really enjoyed Sandra Brown's early works. And so I would share with those. Who's Wooden, the sports writer or the sports coach? Was it Tom Wooden?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm pretty sure his name was Tom Wooden, but he wrote a book on really inspirational. It wasn't just inspirational writings, not just for sports people, but in life in general. And I really enjoyed it. It wasn't a very big book. I believe the name of the book is Wooden, Wooden. And I gave it to my middle child, and she just absorbed it. It was just awesome. And that's another book I really enjoyed recommending to other people. It's older, but it's still very relevant today. So
awesome.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for joining me
welcome.
today on Pathways Through the Prairie. It was great to learn more about you and about your library and all the amazing things that y'all are doing to serve your community. And we look forward to the next 101 years in your building and the wonderful things that will happen as you continue to serve your
Yes.
communities.
We have a few repair projects on the agenda this year that we have to do, but that comes with old buildings, so.
Yes, it does. And the things they never taught you about that you never knew you were going to
Oh.
do as a library director,
No.
especially when you're a small but mighty staff. Often the library directors not only planning programs and managing the budget, but
Yeah.
dealing with plumbing
Outside shoveling
issues and
snow
shoveling the snow and putting the bucket to catch the leak in the roof or whatever
Yeah.
the various things might be. So
So true. So true. Yeah. We make it work.
we make it work. I like that motto, and you guys do a great job with it.
Thank
So
you.
Melissa, thanks so much.